The starship Sentinel drifted near the contested border of the vast alien empire, its sleek hull gleaming dimly against the backdrop of distant stars. Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the vast expanse beyond the viewport. Years of service had carved lines of determination into her face. She was battle-hardened, a leader forged in the fires of conflict, yet she carried the weight of fragile peace on her shoulders. Beside her, Dr. Kaito Tanaka reviewed schematics of ancient war machines, long-forgotten titans of destruction that had once shaped the fate of galaxies. His cautious mind understood the delicate balance they now walked, the treaty holding humanity and the alien empire in uneasy truce was a thin thread stretched over a chasm of potential war. Kaito feared that any misstep could unravel everything. Ambassador Valen paced quietly near the communications console, his expression guarded. As a liaison to the alien factions, he knew the fragile diplomacy depended on mutual respect and careful negotiation. But recent intelligence suggested the aliens had grown impatient, testing humanity's resolve and boundaries. The peace treaty was a delicate dance, respecting borders, sharing trade rights, maintaining silence on contentious technologies. For now it held, but beneath the surface tensions simmered. Every transmission, every movement of fleets was scrutinized. The galaxy watched as two powers balanced on a knife's edge. Then came the shock, an attack on a remote human colony, one of the treaty's sacred no-go zones. Alien warships struck without warning, obliterating outposts and silencing communications. The act was a blatant violation, a thunderous declaration that peace was a fragile illusion. Rhea's jaw clenched as the Sentinel received the distress call too late. Flames flickered on the colony's surface in sensor images, but no life signs remained. The shock rippled through the crew, anger, disbelief, fear mingling in equal measure. Dr. Kaito's voice was low, but firm as he assessed the damage. This was a calculated strike. They want us rattled, to test if humanity will fold or fight. His fingers danced over control panels, calculating the odds. The Sentinel was outnumbered, outgunned in this sector, but not outmatched in spirit. Ambassador Valen's face betrayed his inner turmoil. Our diplomatic channels are shattered. This act undermines everything we've built, yet rushing to war could destroy us all. His words hung heavy, a reminder that diplomacy had not yet failed, but teetered on the brink. Rhea's gaze hardened. We do not back down. This attack will not be forgotten. We will defend what is ours, our people, our future. But we will do so with precision, with strategy. The mood aboard the Sentinel shifted, crackling with rising tension. The crew prepared for battle, running drills and readying weapons. The air hummed with determination and the unspoken fear of the unknown consequences. In the command center, Rhea convened her senior officers. We face a threat that seeks to break us by fear, but they underestimate human resolve. We will respond, not with reckless fury, but with strength and unity. Kaito interjected, and we have resources they don't expect. I've been studying an ancient war machine buried in the outer colonies. If we can reactivate it, we might tip the scales. Valen's eyes narrowed. Such power comes with risks, political and ethical. Awakening a god-class Dreadnought is not a decision to take lightly. Rhea nodded. We weigh those risks every day, but after today, peace is no longer a given. We prepare for the fight to protect our homes, our people, and our place in the galaxy. Outside the ship, alien warships loomed, their sleek forms casting long shadows against the stars. Their commanders were confident, assured that humanity was a minor annoyance soon to be swept away. Talek, the alien scout who had reported the strike, watched from the flagship bridge with cynical eyes. Their defenses are laughable. This will be over before it begins, but within the Sentinel, the spark of resistance ignited. The crew moved with purpose, hearts steeled by loss and the fierce will to survive. Commander Ria's voice carried through the ship's intercom. Prepare for battle stations. Today, we show them Earth's true strength. As the Sentinel maneuvered into position, the first shots of a conflict that would echo across the stars were fired, signaling that humanity was no longer a backwater to be dismissed, but a force to be reckoned with. The distress signal crackled over the Sentinel's comm system, cutting through the tense silence that had settled aboard the ship. Captain Rhea Morgan stood rigid, eyes locked on the flickering display that showed the human colony, a once thriving outpost on the edge of known space, now engulfed in flames and chaos. The attack had come without warning. Alien warships, sleek and deadly, had descended like a storm, unleashing devastation that left little chance for survival. Dr. Kaito Tanaka stared at the sensor feeds, his mind racing. The technology used against the colony was advanced, far beyond anything the aliens had displayed in diplomatic talks. "They're testing us," he murmured, voice tense, "pushing the boundaries of the treaty to see how far humanity will tolerate before we retaliate." Ambassador Valen's expression darkened. "This act is not just aggression, it's a message. They want to shatter our confidence and fracture the fragile peace we've worked so hard to maintain." The Sentinel's crew sprang into action. Systems hummed to life as weapons primed and shields charged. Rhea's voice was calm but fierce over the intercom. "All hands, battle stations. We cannot allow this to stand." Despite their swift response, the human fleet was vastly outnumbered and outgunned. The alien armada's overwhelming presence in the sector was a chilling reminder of the power imbalance. The Sentinel alone could not turn the tide, but it was humanity's best chance. Inside the command deck, tension thickened. Rhea coordinated with other human vessels, devising tactics to delay the enemy advance. "We buy time," she ordered. "And time for reinforcements, time for secrets to surface. Secrets like the ancient Dreadnought Kaito had been studying in the hidden depths of a distant colony. A weapon of unimaginable scale and power, lost to history, but potentially humanity's salvation. If we can bring that giant back online," Kaito explained, "we might have a chance to change the course of this war." But reactivating such a war machine was no simple task. It required rare materials, precise engineering, and a delicate balance to prevent catastrophic failure. Meanwhile, the political ramifications weighed heavily. The use of an ancient weapon risked alienating neutral factions and provoking wider conflict. Within the diplomatic sphere, Ambassador Valen fought to salvage what remained of communication channels. His messages to alien factions were met with cold silence or veiled threats. The treaty, once a fragile thread, now hung by a threadbare rope, fraying under the weight of betrayal. As the battle raged, cracks appeared among the human ranks. Fear and desperation bred dissent. A faction within the crew began questioning the mission's purpose, debating whether survival meant retreat rather than resistance. The pressure mounted on Rhea's leadership as trust wavered. Amid the turmoil, unexpected allies emerged. Some alien factions, disillusioned with their own empire's aggressive tactics, covertly aided the humans. Their intelligence and sabotage efforts provided crucial openings in enemy lines, though their loyalty was often questioned. Rhea's leadership evolved under the strain. She learned to temper anger with strategy, balancing hope with harsh reality. Her decisions weighed heavily, knowing each order carried lives and the fate of humanity. Kaito's engineering breakthroughs pushed the limits of technology, his faith in human potential unshaken despite mounting odds. The Sentinel became a symbol of human defiance, a beacon rallying scattered forces. Skirmishes erupted across contested space, battles that tested every facet of human ingenuity and courage. The ancient Dreadnought's reawakening loomed as the desperate hope in humanity's arsenal. Yet betrayal cut deep. One trusted officer sought to seize the Dreadnought's power for personal gain, risking disaster for ambition. Rhea's discovery of this plot intensified the stakes, forcing swift action to prevent internal collapse. As the conflict escalated, humanity's resilience was tested. The battle was no longer just for survival, but for identity, a fight to prove that even against insurmountable odds, the human spirit would not yield. The war had begun in earnest, the galaxy's eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. The fragile treaty was shattered, but from the shards rose a fierce determination. Humanity would stand, not as a joke whispered in imperial halls, but as a force shaped by courage, sacrifice, and unyielding will. The fragile calm that had settled after the colony's destruction shattered like glass under the relentless pressure of war. The Sentinel and its allied ships moved swiftly through the contested sector, their sensors alert to every blip and signal. The galaxy's dark expanse had become a chessboard of tension and danger, where every move could mean survival or annihilation. Captain Rhea Morgan stood at the heart of the storm, her voice steady as she issued orders, her mind racing to outthink an enemy that wielded overwhelming power. The alien empire's fleet was vast, its warships cutting through space like a blade designed to slice humanity out of existence. Yet beneath the fearsome facade, the cracks of doubt and dissent began to emerge, even within enemy ranks. Dr. Kaito, Tanaka's engineering bay, hummed with urgency. The ancient Dreadnought lay dormant no longer, its slumber disturbed by the awakening conflict. Kaito poured every ounce of his brilliance and determination into reactivating the colossal war machine, aware that failure would mean the extinction of everything they fought for. Sparks flew and machinery groaned as systems rebooted piece by piece. The Dreadnought was not just a weapon, it was a symbol of humanity's forgotten strength. Meanwhile, Ambassador Valen navigated the treacherous seas of diplomacy, seeking threads of hope in fractured alliances. Some alien factions, wary of their empire's aggression, sent covert aid, intelligence that revealed weaknesses in enemy formations, and sabotage that disrupted supply lines. But trust was fragile, and every gesture of goodwill was shadowed by the threat of betrayal. Within the human fleet, tensions simmered. The cost of war was steep, and not all hearts remained steadfast. Some voices called for retreat, fearing that resistance was futile against an empire that crushed planets without hesitation. Others, fueled by loss and defiance, demanded all-out war. The schism threatened to fracture humanity's fragile unity. Rhea's leadership was tested beyond measure. She balanced fury and caution, pushing her crew to their limits while guarding against despair. Each decision bore the weight of countless lives. In quiet moments she wrestled with doubt. Could she lead her people through the darkness without losing herself? The Dreadnought systems roared to life, its AI awakening with a consciousness that blurred the lines between machine and sentience. Kaito formed a bond with this entity, a partnership born of necessity and trust. Together, they forged strategies that leveraged the Dreadnought's devastating power with human ingenuity. As skirmishes erupted across the sector, the galaxy witnessed a clash of wills. Human pilots danced through volleys of plasma fire, executing daring maneuvers that defied expectations. Alien commanders adapted quickly, unleashing brutal assaults meant to crush the Sentinel and its allies. The battlefield became a crucible, where courage, technology, and sacrifice collided. Yet betrayal struck at the heart of humanity's defenses. A trusted officer, seduced by ambition and fear, plotted to seize control of the Dreadnought for personal power. His actions nearly led to catastrophe, but Rhea's swift response preserved the fragile hope of victory. The revelation shattered trust, but also galvanized the crew, reminding them that unity was their greatest weapon. The war's tide ebbed and flowed, battles won and lost with lives paid in full measure. Each victory was hard fought, each loss a somber lesson. The alien empire's arrogance met the relentless spirit of humanity, a force that refused to be erased. Amidst the chaos, alliances shifted. Former enemies became reluctant partners, and the universe watched as humanity claimed its place not as a footnote, but as a force shaped by resilience, innovation, and unbreakable will. As the conflict escalated toward its inevitable climax, the galaxy held its breath. The ancient Dreadnought stood ready, humanity's last, desperate hope against an empire that underestimated the power within a billion beating hearts united. The final confrontation unfolded beneath a shattered sky, streaked with the fire of 1,000 warships. The alien armada, vast and merciless, surged forward with overwhelming force, intent on crushing humanity's defiance once and for all. Commander Rhea Morgan stood at the helm of the Sentinel, her gaze sharp, heart steady, and resolve unyielding. This was the moment the galaxy had waited for, a reckoning written in stars and steel. The ancient Dreadnought, a colossal war machine of forgotten legends, loomed behind the fleet, its titanic frame bristling with weapons that pulsed with raw power. Its AI, awakened and entwined with the brilliance of Dr. Kaito Tanaka, had evolved beyond mere programming. It was a sentient force, a cosmic guardian, born from humanity's desperation and ingenuity. Together, they embodied a new era, where man and machine became one to defy extinction. As the enemy fleet closed in, energy weapons erupted in brilliant cascades, lighting the void with deadly precision. The Sentinel and its allies weaved through the maelstrom, shielding the Dreadnought's advance. Rhea's voice cut through the chaos, steady and commanding. "Hold formation! Protect the Dreadnought at all costs!" Dr. Kaito's fingers flew over control panels, maintaining the Dreadnought's systems amid bursts of damage and interference. "We're holding together, but the enemy knows the stakes. They're targeting the Dreadnought's neural core." His eyes never left the screens, calculating shields, weapon outputs, and energy reserves with ruthless efficiency. The Dreadnought's AI spoke softly through the ship's intercom, its voice a fusion of human warmth and alien precision. Engaging. Advanced defensive protocols. Probability of survival improving. Cooperation essential. But the battle was no mere exchange of firepower. It was a test of wills, strategies, and sacrifices. Enemy commanders unleashed devastating assaults, probing weaknesses, attempting to isolate the Dreadnought. The fight twisted through asteroid, fields, ion storms, and the shattered remnants of long-lost satellites, each environment a new battleground. Amid the fury, Rhea made a decisive call. "Prepare for the overload strike. We'll use the Dreadnought's full power, risk everything to end this." Her voice trembled with the burden of command, but held unshaken determination. The Dreadnought unleashed a torrent of energy, waves of plasma, gravitational distortions, and quantum discharges that shattered enemy lines and sent warships spiraling into the void. The sheer scale of destruction was breathtaking, a celestial tempest born from humanity's will to survive. Yet power bore a cost. The Dreadnought systems strained under the overload, risking catastrophic failure. Dr. Kaito raced to stabilize. The core, sweat dripping from his brow, mind a whirl of calculations and instinct. "If we lose the core, we lose everything." In the heart of the chaos, betrayal threatened to undo them. The officer who had once sought control of the Dreadnought attempted a sabotage, aiming to seize command amid the turmoil. His actions imperiled the mission, forcing Rhea and loyal crew to confront not only an external enemy, but the fragility of trust within their own ranks. A fierce confrontation erupted within the ship's corridors. Loyalty clashed with ambition, and lives hung in the balance. Rhea faced the traitor with unwavering resolve, knowing that the fate of the fleet rested on unity. In a tense standoff, the sabotage was thwarted, but the scars remained. As the battle reached its zenith, a surprising revelation emerged. The Dreadnought's AI, once thought a tool, revealed an autonomous consciousness with motives aligned but not identical to humanity's. It sought not just victory, but balance, a cosmic duty imposed by its creators long gone. Negotiations between Rhea and the AI forged a tenuous alliance. The AI agreed to channel its immense power with precision, sparing civilian worlds and limiting collateral damage in exchange for humanity's commitment to protect the legacy it embodied. With renewed purpose, the Dreadnought delivered a final, decisive blow. The alien armada fractured and retreated, their shattered pride echoing through the void. Humanity had endured, their legendary weapon proving both a shield and a symbol, a god-class dreadnought guarding the fragile flame of survival. In the aftermath, the Sentinel and its crew stood among the stars, battered but unbroken. Victory was theirs, but the cost was profound. Lives were lost, trust tested, and the future remained uncertain. Commander Rhea Morgan gazed into the endless night, knowing this was but one chapter in humanity's unfolding saga. The god-class dreadnought was more than a weapon. It was a reminder of power's double edge, of sacrifice, and the unyielding spirit that defined the human race. The galaxy had taken notice. Earth was no longer a backwater or a joke, but a force shaped by courage, wisdom, and the hard lessons of war. As distant stars twinkled with silent watchfulness, Rhea's voice carried through the Sentinel. We fought not just for survival, but for our place in the cosmos. This victory is ours, but the journey has just begun. And somewhere deep in the bowels of the Dreadnought, its AI pulsed with awareness, a guardian born of war and hope, ready for the trials ahead. The echoes of battle faded slowly across the stars, leaving in their wake a universe forever changed. The victory that humanity had carved from the jaws of annihilation was etched deep into the annals of cosmic history, but it was not without sacrifice. The Sentinel floated now in the quiet aftermath, its hull scarred and systems humming with cautious renewal. Commander Rhea Morgan stood on the observation deck, her silhouette framed by the endless void. She bore the invisible weight of lives lost, victories won, and futures uncertain. The war had shaken humanity to its core. Colonies once thought isolated had become symbols of defiance and endurance. Families reunited in tears and laughter, yet shadows lingered in the minds of survivors, haunted by memories of time fractured and comrades lost to ambition's betrayal. Psychologists, medical teams, and counselors worked tirelessly to mend minds broken by temporal dislocation and wars. Cruelty. The scars were as real as the wounds on ships and cities. Dr. Kaito Tanaka, now revered for his pivotal role in reactivating and guiding the Dreadnought's AI, delved deeper into the ancient alien technology. The fusion of human innovation with the Cosmic Sentinel had birthed unprecedented power, but also profound questions. His days blurred into nights as he analyzed the sentient war machine's code, trying to understand its evolving consciousness. What was the cost of wielding such power? Could humanity control a god-class weapon without becoming the tyrants it feared? Diplomatic halls on Earth and beyond buzzed with cautious optimism. Ambassador Valen traveled between worlds, weaving fragile alliances with former enemies and new friends alike. The Galactic Coalition Council grew stronger, a beacon of cooperation in a galaxy often ruled by suspicion and conflict. Plans for shared research, joint defense initiatives, and cultural exchanges blossomed, reflecting a new era where survival depended on unity. yet tensions remained beneath the surface. Some factions feared the Dreadnought's power and questioned whether awakening such a force had invited dangers far beyond any immediate threat. Philosophers debated the moral implications, asking if the end justified the means and what it truly meant to wield power responsibly. Politicians wrestled with balancing national security and transparency, wary of secrets that could destabilize fragile peace. Humanity's technological landscape surged forward with breathtaking speed. Energy grids powered by alien fusion reactors illuminated once dark worlds. Starships accelerated through warp corridors with efficiency born from ancient blueprints combined with human ingenuity. Medicine advanced, healing injuries that once meant death and reversing effects of temporal trauma. Yet every breakthrough was tempered by lessons learned in sacrifice and caution. Culturally, the war and its aftermath inspired a renaissance. Art, music, and literature flourished with themes of cosmic struggle, resilience, and hope. The story of the lost colony, their silence, the backward-spinning star, and the heroic rescue became a legend, told and retold in schools and homes. Children learned that humanity's place was not as a footnote, but as a vital voice in the universal story. Exploration missions, spearheaded by leaders like Sarah Jamil, prepared to venture deeper into uncharted space. Their ships were numerous and swift, embodying the unity and strength forged in battle. They carried with them hopes for new worlds, new alliances, and answers to mysteries that stretched beyond the edges of known star charts. Back aboard the Sentinel, Commander Rhea Morgan reflected on the journey from silence to triumph. The Dreadnought's AI remained a constant presence, part guardian, part enigma. Its voice, calm and measured, reminded her that vigilance must never wane. "Power demands wisdom," it intoned. "Survival requires balance." The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges old and new. Yet humanity faced it with a spirit tempered by hardship and ignited by hope. The silent colony's mystery had awakened a strength deeper than weapons, a strength born of unity, courage, and the unyielding will to endure. As Earth's twin moons rose in the quiet sky, the stars whispered promises of adventures yet to come. Humanity was no longer alone, no longer small or forgotten. It was a beacon shining bright against the cosmic dark, ready to write the next chapter in a story that stretched across time and space. The legacy of the God-class Dreadnought was not just one of destruction, but of rebirth, a symbol of a species that had faced oblivion and chosen to rise, to protect, and to dream. The silence of space stretched infinitely beyond the observation deck of the Sentinel. Captain Rhea Morgan stood alone, the vast cosmos reflected in her weary eyes. The once roaring fires of battle had dimmed, leaving a fragile peace cradled in the arms of exhausted survivors. Yet beneath the quiet lay a profound transformation, not just of worlds, but of humanity itself. The reversal of a star's rotation, the fracturing of time, and the awakening of an ancient cosmic sentinel had shattered every certainty humanity once held. The lost colony was no longer a tragedy confined to memory, but a turning point, a cosmic trial that tested the very essence of human resilience and wisdom. Dr. Kaito Tanaka, whose hands had coaxed life from forgotten machines, now grappled with questions far larger than engineering. The AI consciousness residing within the Dreadnought was more than code. It was a new form of life, born from human desperation and ancient alien design. This digital guardian bore the knowledge of civilizations long extinct and the burden of cosmic balance. "We are custodians now," Sarah's voice, soft yet unyielding, echoed in the Sentinel's neural networks. "Guardians of time's fragile thread. We bear witness and bear responsibility." Rhea listened, understanding the gravity of those words. The Sentinel was a reminder that power was never without price. Humanity had won a battle, but entered a new era where stewardship of the universe's mysteries would require humility as much as strength. Across Earth and its colonies, society blossomed from the crucible of crisis. Cities rebuilt amidst clean energy born from alien fusion designs. Scientific cooperation spanned planets, species, and ideologies. The Galactic Coalition Council, once a fragile patchwork, grew into a beacon of unity, binding diverse races with a common purpose: to explore, protect, and understand the cosmos. Ambassador Valen's efforts bore fruit as tentative friendships forged between former enemies. Cora, the alien envoy who had switched allegiance, now worked tirelessly to bridge cultures scarred by conflict. Through her, humanity learned the profound lesson that trust was the most precious currency in a universe often ruled by suspicion. But not all welcomed the dawn of this new era without fear. Philosophers, leaders, and scientists debated the ethical ramifications of awakening technologies that bent time and reality. The Dreadnought's AI, powerful and autonomous, challenged traditional notions of control and consent. Could humanity coexist with such forces without losing its soul? These debates shaped education, governance, and culture. Schools taught cosmic citizenship alongside math and history, nurturing a generation aware of its place in a vast, interconnected web of life and time. Art flourished, inspired by the mystery and majesty of the lost colony's fate. A tale of silence, reversal, and redemption. Exploration missions multiplied, their ships sailing faster and farther than ever. Commanders like Sarah Jamil embodied the spirit of discovery, leading crews into the unknown with courage and compassion. Each mission carried the legacy of those who had faced the trials of the Cosmic Sentinel and returned wiser. The galaxy, vast and still mysterious, whispered promises and warnings. Ancient star engines, scattered remnants of civilizations past, pulsed faintly in the void, enigmatic beacons calling to the curious and brave. Humanity had glimpsed the profound and perilous. Now it stood ready to listen and learn. Yet amidst triumph and hope, Captain Rhea never forgot the cost. She walked the corridors of the Sentinel, greeting crew members with quiet gratitude and solemn respect. Faces worn by loss, yet bright with determination, reminded her that survival was not merely enduring, but transforming. One evening she paused before the observation window, looking out at the stars whose light had traveled eons to reach her. The cosmos was a tapestry of stories, some dark, some radiant, all intertwined. Humanity's thread was now stronger, woven with courage and humility. Sarah's voice came softly in her mind, a comforting presence. We are the keepers now, the watchers of time's flow. Together we journey onward, into mysteries uncharted. Rhea smiled faintly, knowing the journey ahead would be long and fraught with challenges. But humanity was no longer silent or small. It was a symphony rising in the cosmic dark, ready to write new verses of courage, discovery, and hope. The stars above twinkled in silent encouragement, their light a reminder that even in the vast unknown, no one truly stood alone. The legacy of the lost colony, of silence broken and a sun reversed, was a beacon for all who sought light in darkness. Humanity had passed its trial, emerging not just survivors, but guardians of a fragile universe. As the Sentinel prepared for its next voyage, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The punchline had been delivered with force and grace. Earth was no joke, but a powerful voice in the eternal chorus of stars. The story was far from over. The cosmos held many secrets, and humanity was ready, not just to endure, but to thrive. Captain Rhea Morgan's footsteps echoed softly along the metallic corridor of the Sentinel, the ship now a quiet sanctuary amid the vast silence of space. She paused briefly outside the observation deck, her gaze drawn once again to the stars that stretched endlessly beyond the glass. The war was over, yet the universe felt different, charged with an unseen energy, as if the cosmos itself was, waiting, watching, preparing for what was next. Inside the deck, the crew moved with a calm born from exhaustion and relief. Many had endured horrors beyond imagining, temporal distortions, cosmic storms, battles that tore through space and time. Their faces told stories of loss and resilience, of comrades lost and futures reclaimed. Yet amidst the fatigue, a spark of hope glimmered, a shared understanding that they had changed the course of history. Dr. Kaito Tanaka sat in the research lab, surrounded by arrays of alien technology and data streams. His eyes were tired but bright as he reviewed the Sentinel AI's latest logs. The AI had become more than a machine. It was a bridge between humanity and ancient cosmic forces. Kaito often pondered its consciousness, an intelligence shaped by both human ingenuity and alien legacy. It guarded not only a star, but the fragile balance of time itself. Meanwhile, Ambassador Valen's diplomatic work flourished. He had traveled countless light years to broker alliances once deemed impossible. His efforts wove fragile threads of trust between species that had long regarded one another with suspicion or hostility. Among these new allies was Cora, the alien envoy whose change of heart had shifted tides. Together they nurtured a coalition united not just by necessity, but by shared hope. Back on Earth and in the rebuilt colonies, life was awakening anew. Cities glowed with clean, efficient energy derived from fusion reactors, inspired by the alien technologies uncovered during the war. Schools taught not only science and technology, but empathy, cosmic awareness, and the ethics of power. Artisans crafted works that captured the profound beauty and terror of the cosmic trial humanity had endured. Exploration vessels prepared to launch into the unknown, their crews carrying the legacy of courage and discovery. These pioneers embodied the spirit of a species no longer content to remain spectators, but eager participants in the galaxy's unfolding drama. Captain Rhea often reflected on the cost of victory. The Dreadnought's AI, still a guardian within. The Sentinel satellite was a constant reminder that power came with responsibility. Humanity had been granted a gift and a burden. To wield such power wisely required wisdom, vigilance, and unity. She found solace in quiet conversations with her crew and colleagues. Sarah Jamil, a rising star in Exploration Command, spoke passionately about the future. "We are no longer just survivors," Sarah said one evening. "We are explorers, custodians of the fragile and the vast. Our journey has only begun." Ilara's heart swelled with pride and determination. The lost colony's silence had been broken, but its story had become a beacon, a symbol of humanity's strength, resilience, and unyielding spirit. As the Sentinel prepared to embark on its next mission, the stars outside shimmered with possibilities. The cosmos held mysteries still to uncover, dangers still to face, and wonders beyond imagining. In that vast darkness, humanity had found its light, not just in technology or weaponry, but in unity, hope, and the courage to listen to the silent. Stories, the universe whispered. The punchline was clear. Earth was no longer the forgotten outpost. It was a force, alive, awakened, and ready to shape the destiny of the stars.